Welcome to NHK Newsline. I'm Gino Tani in Tokyo. The Tokyo Metropolitan Government plans to decide on Friday whether to further ease its request for measures to prevent the spread of the coronavirus starting on Monday, taking into consideration the impact on the economy. Earlier, officials listened to experts' opinions on Thursday and held a discussion, but they could not reach a conclusion on going to the next step, as they said the experts were taking a cautious attitude.
We asked experts for their analysis today. I will consider their opinions and make a final decision on Friday.
The central government lifted its remaining emergency declaration on Monday, including the capital. Tokyo government officials started to gradually ease their requests and are studying the possibility of allowing retail shops dealing in non-essential goods to reopen. But the number of confirmed cases in Tokyo has increased for 3 days in a row until Thursday, although the daily increases remain low. In total, more than 16,700 people have been tested positive in Japan. Around 880 have died. In Kitakyushu City, southwestern Japan, 43 cases have been confirmed in the 6 days up to Thursday. The current situation is even casting a shadow over the annual observance of the atomic bombing of Hiroshima. Officials plan to offer less than a tenth the usual number of seats at the ceremony this year. Another marker of the pandemic's economic impact is unemployment. Figures in Japan have been comparatively low due to a labor shortage, but the latest data shows the situation is tightening across different sectors. Officials say that the seasonally adjusted jobless rate in April stood at 2.6%. That's up 1/10 of a percentage point from March and the second consecutive month of increase. The ratio of job offers to applicants also fell in April for the fourth straight month. The ratio stood at 1.32, meaning there were 132 openings for every 100 people looking for work. Job offers are down in most sectors, particularly the hotel, restaurant, and manufacturing industries. They have decreased by more than 30% compared with last year. Government officials say the state of emergency imposed in April affected a wide range of sectors. U.S. President Donald Trump is doubling down on his claim that China is to blame for the coronavirus. That's as the number of confirmed fatalities in the country has passed 100,000. In a tweet on Thursday, Trump called the virus a very bad gift from China. He added that the virus marches on all over the world. In another tweet, Trump acknowledged the U.S. death toll had passed 100,000, calling it very sad. He said he wanted to extend his heartfelt sympathy to the friends and families of those who've passed. Trump said in March that if the number stayed below 100,000, we would have done a very good job. Some media outlets criticized him for having no comment after Johns Hopkins University said on Wednesday the count had reached that mark. Despite the daily death toll remaining around 500, all 50 states have now started reopening their economies. New York City is the only region in the state that has yet to do so. Governor Andrew Cuomo announced a new executive order Thursday that will allow private store owners to refuse service to people who are not wearing a mask. A grandmother, a saxophone player, a school custodian, every one of the more than 100,000 people in the U.S. has died from the virus was an individual. But researchers looking into the numbers have found some disparities. NHK World's Catherine Kobayashi explains.
Surpassing 100,000 deaths in the U.S. has not changed the dynamics of this outbreak. Every loss sends tremors through the lives around it. But many of the losses have come from particular segments of the population.
When we say quarantine, when we say stay at home and socially distant, that's easier to do for some than others, right? That's not an equitable strategy.
The Centers for Disease Control admits racial and ethnic minority groups bear a disproportionate burden of illness and death. Researchers looked at the mortality rate in 40 states and the District of Columbia. they found the rate for Black Americans was more than twice that of white Americans. Latinos and Native Americans face elevated risks too. The researchers point to a lack of health care access, the density of households, and pervasive discrimination. And many who enter hospital have pre-existing conditions such as diabetes and high blood pressure.
So we have higher risk because of our health status in general, and then we get exposed more because of some of the jobs that some of our people hold, more service level, right? More people facing, right?
At the start of the outbreak, many Americans called the virus the Great Equalizer. The numbers suggest it's not so equal after all. Catherine Kobayashi, NHK World, New York.
South Korea is stepping up measures in and around Seoul to stop the coronavirus from spreading further. This comes after a recent surge in new cases.
The next 2 weeks will be very important. If the infection cannot be prevented now and the epidemic spreads, there will be no choice but to impose regulations as before.
Health and Welfare Minister Park Nang-hoo said many public facilities in the Seoul metropolitan area will be closed through June 14th. These include museums and art galleries. The government said it confirmed 79 new cases on Wednesday. That's about double the figure of the day before. The spike is due largely to an outbreak at a logistics center near Seoul. Residents are being asked to avoid going out and to work from home. The government began taking a more relaxed approach earlier this month to allow life to return to normal while preventing new infections. As a condition to maintain the easier restrictions, it hopes to limit new cases to no more than 50 per day. Wednesday's count exceeded that for the first time. Trump is a heavy user of Twitter, and he is now going after the company. He signed an executive order targeting social media sites after his tweets were flagged with fact-checked links by the social media site.
A small handful of powerful social media monopolies controls a vast portion of all public and private communications in the United States, and we know what they are. To defend free
Trump wants to review a law that protects Twitter and other social media platforms from being held responsible for content posted by their users. Free speech advocates say removing the liability shield would effectively kill online discussion. It's something the president himself frequently engages in with his tweets to his 80 million followers. Twitter fact-checked earlier this week 2 of Trump's posts about mail-in voting in November's presidential election. The president hit back with a post accusing Twitter of interfering in the race. The company's CEO, Jack Dorsey, responded with a tweet of his own, writing that fact-checking false claims does not make us an arbiter of truth. Our intention is to connect the dots of conflicting statements and show the information in dispute so people can judge for themselves. Details of the executive order remain unclear, but American media say it is likely to face legal challenges. Protests at the U.S. city of Minneapolis over the death of an unarmed black man in police custody show no signs of ending. The governor of Minnesota has activated the state's National Guard troops and declared a peacetime emergency. Hundreds of protesters have taken to the streets since a video of the incident came to light. The police say people attacked and looted commercial facilities and set some buildings on fire on Wednesday. George Floyd died on Monday after a white police officer kneeled on his neck for several minutes during an arrest. He reportedly said he couldn't breathe. The protesters say the police response was excessive and prompted by racial discrimination. The chief of the Minneapolis police offered apologies at a news conference on Thursday.
I'm absolutely sorry for the pain, the devastation, and the trauma that Mr. Floyd's death has left on his family, his loved one, our community here in Minneapolis, and certainly across the country and the world.
But he added the police cannot tolerate people robbing and looting businesses. 4 officers involved in Floyd's arrest have already been fired. President Trump said on Thursday his administration is investigating the incident.
I've asked the Attorney General, FBI, and the Attorney General to take a very strong look and to see what went on, because that was a very, very bad thing that I saw. I saw it last night, and I didn't like it.
Trump said he was not going to make any comment right now when asked if police officers should be prosecuted. Floyd's death is the latest incident of African Americans dying while in police custody in the U.S. People in Tokyo saw sudden bursts of thunderstorms last night, but we woke up to clear skies on Friday morning. Our meteorologist, Yoko Komagata, tells us how long the sunny weather will continue. Yoko.
Well, we are expecting 1 to shot of thunderstorms on Friday afternoon as temperature rise. A high-pressure system will bring sunny conditions and pretty hot temperatures to a large portion of Japan on Friday. At the same time, upper cold air will spread into the country, creating unstable conditions. We may see some isolated thunderstorms in the Kanto region, including Tokyo in the afternoon and into the evening. Some of the thunderstorms could produce sudden bursts of downpours, hail, and damaging winds. Also, watch out for flash flooding in the urban areas. It's going to be midsummer-like temperatures in many places. Obihiro in Hokkaido will have a high of 27 degrees. That's about 10 degrees warmer than usual. Also 27 in Tokyo with a chance of thunderstorms in the afternoon. An active rainy season front will continue to bring widespread showers across southern China. As the front shifts northward, showers will move across eastern China and western Japan as we go into the weekend. Expect 150 millimeters with a risk of flash flooding. Wet weather will persist in Hong Kong and Shanghai on Friday. Some showers will also move into Beijing with a high of 32 degrees. To wrap things up in India, people are dealing with a dangerous heat wave this week. The highs reached nearly 50 degrees in northern India and Pakistan. People in India are struggling with a severe heat wave. Some cities have seen temperatures as high as 50 degrees. May and June are usually the hottest month in India just before the wet monsoon season. Showers will bring some relief in heat conditions this weekend. The high will drop to 33 degrees in Islamabad and 38 degrees in New Delhi with a chance of thunder showers. That's all for now. Stay safe and have a nice day.
That's the news this hour. I'm Gene Otani. For all of us here at NHK Newsline, thanks very much for joining us.